Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the shop. So today we're working on this truck here. So it has a little bit of a problem. It's leaking water into the oil. So this is a 2001 Chevy Silverado 1500. It's got the 4.3 6-cylinder engine in it. So it's been leaking a little bit of water here and there. It's for a friend of mine, and he asked me to take a look at it, and the only thing I know to do is rip into it and see what we can find. So I will tell you that the truck runs excellent. It absolutely runs great. There's no misses, there's no carry-ons, full power all the time. It's just leaking water into the oil. It carries very good oil pressure and everything that I saw. Like I said, the truck runs great. So a lot of times whenever people say about water into the oil, first thing they think of is head gasket. That's not always the case. So with any V8, V6 engine there is, especially the older ones, the intake manifold has water going through it. So what my hope is we get tearing down into this and find out that the intake gasket is leaking water down into the oil. And that's what I'm hoping, because it'll leak right down into that little belly there, right where the cam and lifters and stuff is, and you know, it'll just slowly seep. Now there is signs a little bit of water leaking outside on this side. It's very, very hard to see. I only seen it one time, but it is leaking a little bit on the outside, and it's up around where the intake, rolling around the side. So that's what's leading me to believe it's the intake gasket. So with that said, guys, I already got the antifreeze already drained out of this. So my plan is, you don't have to sit there and watch me take everything completely apart. So my plan is I'm going to put it on a time lapse, and I'm just going to start ripping and tearing. So with that said, guys, you know, all the top of this engine has to come completely off. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I'm going to take the fan shroud off the top. I'm going to take the intake plenum off here, throttle body, the upper intake manifold, the lower intake manifold, you know, the alternator, the AC pump has to come off. And I don't want to break the lines on the air conditioning pump, because the air conditioning does work very well. So I'd rather not break it if I have to. But if I have to, I could recharge it myself here, so it's not a terrible big deal, but I'd rather just not do it if I don't have to. But then once we get all this stuff off here, we're kind of exposed to the intake manifold, and I think that's where I'm going to bring you back. So if we have to go deeper and take the heads off this, we will. I really don't want to, but if we have to, we will. But I'm really, really hoping, and I really think that it's the intake gasket. So all right, without further ado here, let's rip into this. Like I said, I'll put it on a time lapse, and I'm just going to start ripping and tearing. right, guys, so I kind of apologize. I didn't realize that the sunlight, I tried to put it at my back and it just still was awful dark in here, but you can see I am down to the intake manifold. What you just seen me take off last was the upper intake manifold with the spider. I will tell you, a lot of times those spiders, due to age and heat and everything, you do not get them out that easy. There's 9 times out of 10 you break them little plastic tubes or the clips that hold it down into that intake, and hopefully that whenever I go to put this back together I don't break any. They seem still pretty pliable, so I don't know if they were changed in the past or not, but let me tell you, I was very impressed with that. So what needs to happen next is these intake bolts here got to come off. I got to see if it wraps around the distributor in the back. If it does, I'm gonna have to take that distributor out. I'm not positive. Normally you do, so I'm assuming I'm going to have to. I just didn't get back there yet. This line here kind of bothers me a little bit too. Them things usually season and you never get them out. So hopefully I can get that out without any issues. What's really my hindrance right now is this air conditioning line. If I get that air conditioning line out of my way, and even this wiring harness that goes across the back, that would help tremendously, but there's not really any place to put it. The air conditioning line, I may end up just trying to hang it from the roof here or the hood here somehow, or up here, I'm not sure, but that would help tremendously. But anyway, I think I'm going to hang it up for the night. It's getting kind of late, even though it's kind of sunny. The time changed. It's being a lot later at night now, but I will bring you back tomorrow sometime, and hopefully we have a little bit farther done. All right, guys, you can see I got everything taken apart, and I was right. You did have to take the distributor out. I kind of figured you did. I keep on forgetting about the V8 engines. Most of them you do have to pull the distributor out, which is fine. So that's what I end up doing. But you know what I'm really impressed with, and I don't know how well you guys can see. Look how clean the engine itself is down there. That just kind of surprises me very, very much. But I will say, I think we did find our tall tale, so I'm going to try to bring you in a little closer. Is if you look right there at the bottom of the gasket, you can see how it's smushed out there a little bit, like it's deformed, and it's also a little bit, the hard plastic's already cracked. And then also, if you look at the driver's side, try to get you a little better angle, you can see how it's popped out on the top here, and you can see it's also cracked and everything there as well. Also, if you notice, there's a rust line up along the top here, so this guy has been leaking for a long time. So I'm assuming what happened is, this one broke away on the top side, so you didn't really notice it, so it just leaked and leaked, and you might have smelled a little antifreeze burning off or whatever, but didn't really pay attention too much to it, which is pretty common. But with this one here, the fact that it was blowed out on the bottom side, I'm saying this is our culprit. So what happened with this guy is it was dripping inside, and that's what was getting into the oil. You can also see there's some rust buildup and stuff along top here, but I don't think that was really any of the issue. It might have been starting to leak up on the top on that side, the passenger side there, but it's not terribly. So I'm going to show you the intake. Before that though, I am going to take the valve covers off. So both sides, I'm going to remove the valve covers, replace the gaskets on them. So I ended up buying a top end engine rebuild kit. So I got head gaskets, intake gaskets, valve cover gaskets. It was like $5 more to buy that gasket set, including the head gaskets, compared to just all the upper end gaskets. So I figured, why not, in case I had to get in there. So right now it don't look like it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get all the valve covers off. I'm going to clean everything up, including the intake, the upper intake, the lower intake, the distributor, all the parts and pieces cleaned up, and then I'll kind of bring you back and we'll start putting things together. All right, so I don't want to get into too much details, but you see I did mark the distributor in 2 places just in case, because I didn't really want to sit there and have to retime everything. Sometimes that can be kind of a pain, but everything else looks pretty good. Here's the spider. I didn't know where to put it, so I kind of gingerly put it in here, and you can see I'm impressed on how good a shape it is. Usually these plastic lines that are on this, these guys here are very brittle, and you end up breaking them or you break these clips getting it out. And I, knock on wood, I hope I don't break it whenever I go to put it back together. And okay, here's the intake manifold off of it, the lower aluminum part. And you can see it kind of looks like even right there was a little bit of maybe a path going down in. It's hard to tell on these, but you can see there's a lot of crud and a lot of crud up in here and in here. So it almost looks like this was starting to leak around this port too. Other than that, they all look pretty good. The other side, you can see it really, really well. Try to get the sun out of your eyes there. You can see this crust build up here. This side here has been leaking for a long time. And it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see how the path kind of went up, and then it probably fell into this cavity and filled this cavity up. And then it was dripping along this side here. So this intake side was definitely leaking for a long time. It's no big deal. We'll get this all cleaned up and we'll go ahead and get everything put back together. The other thing I wanted to point out is look how clean this is. So I don't know if it's with the water that was in the oil, it kind of steaming it, but I'm telling you, that looks really clean. The engine so far looks really clean. And I am going to change the oil. Actually, I'm going to pull the drain plug out, let all the oil drain out, and then I'm going to hose everything down with kerosene or parts cleaner, whatever. I'm not sure what I have on hand. And then that way everything just runs right out the oil pan and out. And then I'm going to recommend him to change the oil in probably like 100 miles even. That way get all that other stuff out of there from cleaning it and stuff. So all right guys, with that said, so what my plan is I'm going to go ahead and clean this all off camera. There's no reason to sit there and watch me clean all the parts and pieces. So I'm going to get all these parts cleaned up. I'll bring you guys back and then we'll start getting the assembly process done. All right guys, I hope you can see this a little bit, but you can see all the intake surfaces are clean, all the valve cover surfaces are clean. The engine actually is pretty clean, but I did just drain the oil, and I will say that probably a half a gallon of antifreeze come out of it. So I'm hoping it all gets washed out. I mean, this is kind of common. So, but anyway, I did run taps down through all the threads, even on the valve covers here. And then I ran dyes over all the bolts here to get them all cleaned up. So we're pretty much ready to start putting this back together. Over here you can see I got all the parts all cleaned up, ready to go. And in fact, all the gaskets that are in that I know of. So all right, let's start putting this thing back together. All right, I'm sorry if I can't get a good camera angle. It's you know, car engines are not really great places to get good angles on. But anyway, we're going to start with the passenger side and get this valve cover put on. All right, so these bolts get tightened to 106 inch-pounds. Really, it doesn't matter because there is a shoulder and it would stop. All right, so with the valve covers on, we're gonna go ahead and start getting the intake manifold on. All right, so it says to put a 1/4 inch wide bead of RTV going a 1/2 inch up each side. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and set this guy down in. And the same thing with this side. And those have little tabs that hold it into the block there for you. It holds it right into the cylinder heads are right there. That's why I didn't squirt all this out. It says to run a little bit up over about a 1/2 inch. Hopefully I have enough. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this intake manifold set down in here. Kind of dip it down under here, and I am not sure why it's not setting down. I think it did. All right. So it says use thread Loctite on the bolts. I am going to use this stuff here. It's a sealant slash Loctite and the same. So that's what I'm going to use. And that's what I thought. It needs to go back just a nudge. Okay, it's supposed to be torqued in 3 different things. First one is 27, and it's a stagger position. It's supposed to be all right, so it's the next one now. And like I said, this is all in inch pounds too, so the next one is 106. And then it's 137. All right, well, I can see RTV coming out the whole way around the front here, so I'm hoping the back's the same way. All right, so let me get some things reorganized here, and let's get the spider, the upper intake, this distributor, all that stuff. Let's start putting it all back in. All right, so let's get this distributor set down in here. Now, if you remember, I had it marked here and here, so we should be able to just drop it down in and still have it in time. That has to be it. All right, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put the spider and stuff in. So this guy basically sits there, and these guys just kind of clip in. All right, so that's how that guy sits there. So we're gonna go ahead and get the upper intake manifold on next. So the upper intake manifold, you can see I already got the gaskets on. You know, this may look like it's dirt in there, but it's just discoloration from the material. But it's all been cleaned, washed, and everything with brake clean, and none of that stuff there is coming off. I'm gonna double check these lines, make sure they are down in, and they are. We're gonna go ahead and set this guy on. It feels like it went. So we're gonna put the map sensor in and the throttle body. And I'm going to check that torque here in a minute. I just want to get this stuff in. So here's the throttle body, and that guy already sits there. And like I said, I did change all these gaskets already, so don't think I'm skipping over that, because no, they're all changed. And these guys are long bolts, and then this guy is in the back. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and get the torque spec for these. And you know what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this miscellaneous stuff on and bring you back, or maybe put it on time lapse, because you know, this stuff gets kind of boring just doing this. You don't really gain or learn anything from it. So why don't we do that, and I'll bring you right back. All right guys, well, you can see we are almost there. Actually, there's not a whole lot more to do. So unfortunately what happened is the camera battery died on me while I was halfway through and didn't realize it, and so I lost some footage. I got the alternator needs to go on, the radiator hose. I got to put some distributor wiring on, the coil wire, the spider plug, and honestly that's pretty much about it. So far all the hardware is on, so Well, like I said, we're almost there. I say, why don't we get the alternator in? All right, so we got that done. I say let's get the belt on. It's hanging here somewhere. All right, kind of looks all right. Looks right. All right, so that's all done. All right, so what else do we need here? Ignition wires. Plug that guy in, plug the distributor in, and then one radiator hose yet. In fact, let's put that on now. I can tell you one thing. I have no idea why Chevy would design a hose like this. This is just ridiculous. All right, so that is on. That goes to the PCV valve. All right, let's get that. That looks good. All right. All right. All right, so it's all left to the ignition wires. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get everything topped off in fluids and then bring it back. So my plan is I'm gonna just go ahead and put the distributor wires on and probably put the intake, this plenum here on, and then I say we put oil to it and see what happens. So hang tight, I'll bring you back. All right guys, so here is the moment of truth. So all the oil was in. So the next thing to do, all the antifreeze is in. Let's see if she starts up. So, there you go. Alright, well, it actually sounds pretty good. Well, folks, I think we can say this is a job well done. I'm probably going to take it for a test drive and do some stuff like that. So I'll leave some part numbers in the description down below of the gasket sets and stuff I bought. I bought it from Rock Auto since there was no rush to get this job done. You know, I let it warm up, let it check the antifreeze, check the oil, you know, check all that stuff. Seems to be running good, and I think it's going to be okay. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you can, and until next time, take care.